Welcome to the Swimming from Home talk show. I'm here with Kathleen Baker.
Woohoo! Some nice
Um,
virtual connections.
yeah, just trying to talk to people because there's no more swim beats.
I know, heartbreaking.
I know you just made an Instagram post the other day about missing your national teammates and getting to swim with people around the world.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I feel like those friends of mine, like I've been leaning on so much, and we have like a group text, and like when all the news
Yeah,
is happening, like we all just like, so how's everyone doing? Because like right now it's like our lives are so different than they've ever been, and like I feel like my whole world has been flipped upside down, and I'm like, wow, like what am I doing now, just with like not having the Olympics this year, which is a right decision for everyone's like health and like just in general. Like I just feel like it wouldn't have been the Olympics that everyone thinks about. It would have been
yeah,
like a toned down Olympics, just with people getting sick or not having access to train.
yeah, definitely. So what has your last few weeks been like? I guess take me from like, were you were in Des Moines? We talked
Yeah.
about Des Moines. Yeah. So take me from like Des Moines, which was, just totally normal. Everyone was doing their thing to like kind of where you're at now.
Yeah, I mean, Des Moines, I was like coming off a great meet. I'd been like almost lifetime best in some of my swims. So I was like awesome. Like went to like practice the next week, and I was like did 3 extra days of 200 backstrokes. So I like raced the 200 back on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and
Okay.
practice just to like practice like having a meet that's longer than 3 days. So I was like still just like living in the moment, like, and then by Friday of that week, like we had heard that our pool was going to be shut down. And it was like closed to the public on that Friday. And then they're like, but we'll let you guys swim in and we'll open up the back gate for you on Saturday morning. So for
Okay.
the next week, we were like just like getting let in the back gate. And then eventually it became like, oh, only 10 people can come in at a time. So like we would go in
Hmm.
shifts, and like the middle distance would come in early, and then sprint would come in like a couple hours after us so that they could swim.
Hmm.
And then by the next following week, on Friday, they were like, no longer, you can't do that anymore. Like, I think that's when we got shelter in place put on California
Yeah.
and San Diego. And so that sort of just ended everything. And since then, it's been like a really big struggle to be creative, to find ways to just like feel like you're not getting so far behind. Because, in swimming, you take time off and it's like you feel like you have to start over. And
Yeah.
last year during this time, I missed 8 weeks of training, and I do not want to feel like I did when I came back from that, because that was so hard. I was like struggling to do like a 200 long course freestyle at like a very, very slow pace.
Yeah.
So it's like for me, like, thank God I live in San Diego. Like I'm in the ocean, I can go for hikes and runs and things like that. So I'm just like really trying to stay active in hopes that just like one helps fill my well up emotionally and mentally, and then it just keeps me in somewhat like level of in shapeness.
Right. So how long have you been out of the pool at this
I
point?
think like at this point almost 2 weeks.
Okay.
We've like not had access to a like normal pool. I mean, I swim in a 22-yard pool a couple times a week in someone's backyard, and I go with Jacob Hebley. It's just me and Jacob at once. Um, so that's who I swim with. And
Yeah.
rotates through like trying to get like an hour of something done in that pool. And then just like swimming in the ocean, doing ocean swims and surfing and things like that. And I've like really been like breaking myself off on hikes. Like I'm
Mhm.
not a lover of hikes, but I've really found that it's like really hard for me to do. And so
Yeah.
I've been like trying to get my energy out other places.
Which, yeah, seems like a good thing.
Yeah.
Have you, are you able to do like dry land weights, anything like that?
Yeah, every morning our team does like some core together, and then also my boyfriend has like a full gym in his garage, so I get to go over there and lift weights and run sprints. So I'm like, yes, I still have access to a bar and like an assault bike and dumbbells, and I just ordered a Peloton bike, so I'm gonna be like cranking out in my apartment pretty soon.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Uh, so God, I'm so upset that I was talking to someone about this yesterday. Like, I do like practice in pancakes. And like these
Yeah.
would be the best practices to go to, because people are like swimming in these pools that seemingly came out of the woodwork,
Yeah.
like in everyone's backyards. And it's like Ryan Held was swimming at a yacht club, and I just talked to Annie Laser, who they're swimming at like someone's indoor, like in their house pool that has like one lane and no gutters. It's very bizarre, and it's
Yeah,
very,
it's so weird, but I feel like have a huge sense of appreciation for swimming, and this just like multiplies it even more. Like I cannot wait to get back and like be able to train for like 2 hours in a 50-meter pool. Like it's gonna feel so good. Actually, probably not, because I'll be out of shape a little bit, but eventually it'll
right.
feel so good.
Eventually it'll be the best.
Yeah.
Have you been able to process the fact that, I guess, not only that the Olympics are postponed, but that, it's like training for the foreseeable future may be postponed?
Yeah, I feel like this came out and I like didn't really process it, because in my head I was like, this is what I wanted. Like I wanted the Olympics to be postponed. And then yesterday I just had the real first meltdown, and I was like, wow, it's not happening. Like I don't get the joy of going to practice. I don't know when I'm gonna swim again right now. Like I just like had the meltdown in my car driving, and I was like, I have no practice to go to. Like the Olympics isn't happening. Like I was training the fastest I've ever trained in my life and having a great season, and like that's perfect for an Olympic year. And now I just have to hope that I can have that again next year.
Yeah. How have you, what tools have you kind of either used or discovered to cope with that, or to help you
Yeah, I
process
think
that?
Yeah, I think for one, like I was like really bottling everything down, and I think being able to just like be like, wow, this is terrible, or like I'm upset over this, really helps to like vocalize it for me. And then
Yeah.
two, like really making sure I'm filling my well outside of like just like sitting in my apartment. Like I really try not to be in my apartment too much if I can, like, and just go out on walks and enjoy the weather. Just because I feel like you can get really sad and all up in your feels when you're sitting by yourself in a one-bedroom apartment. And then just like
Yeah.
reaching out to my friends and stuff, like who are going through this and who have like also experienced like this huge loss, whether that be like the Olympics or NCAAs, and just like relying on that there's a plan that's like greater for me than just this year, and just knowing that like in the future, like just knowing that like my plan isn't always like going to be the perfect plan to get there.
Yeah. Has there been someone who's given you a particular perspective that really helped your perspective and kind of put it all into place?
I think like a little bit from everyone. I mean, of course, like reaching out to my, like
Yeah.
having access to my coach is like so important. Like David and I have a great relationship, and just getting to hear him be like, you can use this time to get better at like the details. Like I swam in an endless pool a couple times, and like focusing on different things like that, and just trying to turn something that feels like a negative into like a huge positive. And him just reminding me that like I was out last year for 8 weeks during this time, and came back and was fine within a couple months of that. So just like knowing that I can come back from something, and it just sort of helps that everyone's in a similar position. I know some people have less access to things than other, but we're all just like not in the same like training schedule that we used to be. And that makes it just feel a little bit better, because it's not so much woe is me. It's like everyone's having to go through this and everyone's struggling.
Yeah. It's woe is world.
Yeah, woe is world.
Yeah. Have you picked up any new hobbies?
Knitting. I literally started to knit a scarf. So that's up there. I've been cooking and baking like up a storm. Next week,
Yeah.
I like created a week's worth of meals, and it's called like 7 days around the world, Kathleen's culinary experience. And I'm going to like make food from different around the world every day next week.
Whoa.
So that's just going to really occupy some time.
Yeah. What have you made any meals so far that you've been like really happy with?
I made ribs and blackberry cobbler last week, and that was like pretty bomb. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like the ribs came out perfectly. I do like one dry rub that's like, I guess like more savory than I do a sweet dry rub, and they turned out perfect.
Yeah, my mouth is watering. That sounds great. Nice. So, would you say you're someone who normally cooks a lot?
Yeah, I love to cook. I definitely like my meals are toned down when I'm like running from practice. So now I've really gotten to like up my like meal games, I guess. They're just like a little bit more things incorporated into them. But it's just like fun to like cook and bake and like just waste some time in the kitchen, because or like right now I'd be used to like having to be worried so much on like my recovery aspect of like just training too, and like now I'm like, I don't need to recover from my hike, like I'm okay, you know. So just like being able to have that extra free time where I'm able to just like do something that fills me up and makes me like a little bit more joyful when I don't get to have the huge joy that swimming brings to me.
Right. I've talked to a few people about this. Like, are you caught up on sleep? Like,
Oh
is
yeah.
this the best part of this?
Yeah, but I'm also like, wow, like there's no need to go to bed. Like I don't have anything to wake up for. I'm like, great. But I've definitely got a lot of sleep, and this is a great time to like focus on like if you're having like an injury or anything, like recovering on that and like making sure that you're just staying healthy during this time too.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to, I think it was Ryan Murphy yesterday, and he was like, I'm up to like 2.5 cups of coffee a day because like, why not? I'm just
Yeah,
sitting
like
at home.
I know. I really have had to be like rein in the why nots. I'm like, oh yeah, like definitely could go on like a 6-mile run, and I'm like, nope, can't. That's gonna just destroy my ankles. But I'm just having like a good time finding different ways to exercise that I didn't know that I was gonna enjoy, which is just like a little bit weird. Like I'm just so used to being like I swim and I lift and that's what I do for my exercise, and now I'm like, oh, I sort of like running sprints or like going into the ocean and surfing. Like I've just like been able to find some other ways that have like been making my life a little more enjoyable when I feel like it's not as fun as it used to be.
Right. Do you like, so when you do things that are different physically, do you think that that puts you in a different mental place too than like, swimming a 2-hour practice would?
Yeah, I think right now when I'm like doing all of like this random exercising just to like waste my energy throughout the day, I feel like I'm just like so like happy all the time because I'm like just happy to be able to leave my apartment and like do something. So I feel like it's putting me in a great mindset. But for me, like swimming is my outlet. Like that's where I go when like things in like my life or the world isn't going like perfect. I'd rather just like go swim by myself, head in the water, like, and I just like process things that way. And so it's weird to have like my outlet not be a thing anymore when I feel like that's when I need the swimming the most. Not even just for the training. It's just like I just love being in the water and love just like having that time. And I like miss just being able to wake up and go to practice and train super hard and get my times on pace work. I'm like, oh, I just like miss that so much.
Yeah. I mean, certainly I miss eating pancakes and watching people practice, but it's okay. Have you watched anything interesting? I've been talking to everyone about Tiger King.
Oh yeah, of course I watched it. I watched the whole season already. I had so many thoughts, like crazy show, but I was like, wow, I'm glad that I watched it before it like blew up on social media so it didn't ruin the whole thing for me, because the whole time I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like this is real. They're like, these people are real.
I know, like that we watched McMillions, like the Monopoly game one, and like it was like a good documentary, and it was like, wow, that's wild. And then we watched this one, we're like, this is like 10 times that.
Yeah.
Like, and you can't, it's just unbelievable that like that's real.
Yeah.
But
crazy.
Do you think
I have some free time to watch TV, so there you go.
Have you watched anything else that's noteworthy?
I'm watching Hulu's Little Fires Everywhere, and I think that's pretty bomb. Like I read the book and I was like, had some expectations, and they're doing a pretty good job so far.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, waiting for every Wednesday it comes out. So there you go.
My girlfriend and I have been the same way. Like every Wednesday we're like, Little Fires Everywhere.
Yes. So good.
Would you recommend the book?
I would. I definitely recommend the book. I love reading on vacation, but I'm not a huge reader in my own home because I like have trouble focusing on just one task.
Yeah.
But I would definitely read that on I read it on the beach this Christmas when I was on vacation with my family, and I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Nice. So you're still in San Diego. Is your family still in Charlotte?
They're in North Carolina and Winston-Salem.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so they're just hanging out in their homes. Like, that's pretty much it. They won't even let my sister, who lives like in the same city, come over. They're like, we don't know who you've seen. So they're just hanging out. I miss them, and I just hope that they can stay healthy too during this time.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Any closing thoughts you've got? I know one thing I've talked to with a lot of people about is, it's like there's a lot of college swimmers, a lot of club swimmers that, are really, really hurting, like everyone is,
Yeah.
because they can't swim. Any kind of closing thoughts for moving forward into this?
Yeah, I think like right now, like you can't get caught up in like what you've lost necessarily. I think like you have to like take it day by day and find little things within that day that are gonna like just bring you a little joy or fill your well up just a little bit, so that you're not just like waiting for this endless like, when is it gonna go back to normal, because we really don't know that. And if you get caught up in like just waiting for that to happen, then you're gonna have like a lot of weeks of not very fun times.
I think that is sound advice.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Kathleen.
Oh no, thank you.